Hello children, today we are going to revise the lesson crop production. In crop production, first is what? Agriculture. What is agriculture? The science that deals with growing crops and rearing animals for human use is called agriculture. Now children, come to the second, horticulture. What is horticulture? Horticulture is a branch of agriculture that deals with the production of vegetables, fruits, flowers, and decorative plants. Next is what are crops? Children, what is crop? First, when a large number of plants are grown at the same place for food, it is called a crop. In India, there are two main seasons for cultivating crops, the Kharif crops and Rabi crops. Okay, Rabi and Kharif crops. What are Kharif crops? Kharif crops such as paddy require lot of water. They are sown at the beginning of the southwest monsoon during June and July, and they are harvested after the monsoon in September, October. Now next is Rabi crop, such as wheat. Wheat are sown at the beginning of the winter season and harvested by March and April. Other Rabi crops are gram, pea, mustard, linseed, etc. Now, children, what are the methods of crop production? Modern agriculture is carried out in a scientific and systematic way. Farmers they grow the crop and they follow many steps. We are going to discuss those steps one by one. First is preparation of soil. In preparation of soil, what do? They lose the soil by plow. Okay, and what are the advantages of loose soil? Loose soil has lot of air trapped in it. Loose soil allows the root to penetrate deeper, and there are so on. After that, after loosening the soil, they select the seeds. Selection of seed. What kind of seeds should be? The seeds should be of good quality, healthy, and free from diseases. Now next is coming manuring. Okay children, what is manuring? This can be done either by using natural methods or by adding manures and fertilizer to the soil. What are the natural methods? There are three natural methods which we have discussed in the class. First is field fallow, second is crop rotation, and mixed cropping. I am going to tell you about the crop rotation. Each crop uses more of some nutrient and less of others. So farmers therefore change their crops in each season so that the soil is not depleted of any particular nutrient. This is called crop rotation. And what is mixed cropping? Sometimes two or more crops are grown together in the same field. The crops are chosen in such a way that the nutrients need of one crop are fulfilled by other. Okay, now next is using fertilizers and manure. Children, all you know, manure is what? Natural we can organic substance. Okay, manures are what? Organic substances. We obtain it from dead plants and animal waste. Okay, animal manure consists of animal waste and compost. You have learnt about compost is also a manure. Now fertilizer. Sometime what happen, compost is rich in organic nutrient but not in some important nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. So farmers they add fertilizers. Fertilizers are human made chemical substances that contain one or more nutrients essential for plant growth. NPK is most common fertilizer and stands for nitrogen, P stands for phosphorus and K for potassium. Okay children, after that irrigation. What is irrigation? Irrigation means supplying water to crops in the field. Okay, we like modern methods of irrigation like sprinkler system, In the sprinkler system, water escapes from the revolving nozzle and is sprinkled like rain on the crops. This system is useful for sandy and uneven land. Now, second modern method is drip irrigation. In drip irrigation, water is allowed to fall drop by drop from a pipe just near the roots of the plant. This minimizes wastage of water. It is very expensive. This method is expensive, children. It is used in areas where there is water shortage. Now, next is our weeding. Okay, first, what are weeds? Weeds are unwanted plants like amaranthus, chenopodium, wild oat. Okay, wild oat grass. These are unwanted plants and we call them weeds. Weeds can be removed from the field by two ways. First, by removing weed. First thing, removing weed from the field is called weeding. Weeding can be done manually by pulling the weeds or by using weedicides. Weedicides are herbicides which kill the weeds. Weedicides are chemicals, okay, and they destroy the plant. Weedicides, we spray them, they destroy the weeds but do not affect the main crop. Example of some weedicides like Cyniazin, Delapon, Metaclor. Very important. Three weedicides I have told you: Cyniazin, Delapon, and Metaclor. Okay. Now next come to crop. We need to protect the crop from pest and diseases. By spraying pesticides, insecticide, we protect the crop from diseases. Okay. Pest can be controlled by pesticides, which are poisonous chemicals. Pesticides kill pests as well as their eggs and larvae, but do not affect the plant. Okay. Insecticides are used for to kill the insects, and rodenticides are used to kill rodents. Okay, all these they destroy the crop, so we can use these chemicals. Now, some like fungal diseases and bacteria, they also affect the plant. I am going to tell the diseases. Like rust and smut are fungal diseases. Blight of potato is because fungus, and bacteria also affect the crop, and that disease is called wilt. Wilt is a disease caused by bacteria. The xylem tissue of plant gets blocked and the plant wilt and dies as water cannot be conducted up. So children, for fungal diseases we use fungicides. Okay. Now we are coming to the harvesting, threshing and winnowing. What is harvesting? Cutting off ripe crop. Okay, cut and gather. This may be done. How can be done this cutting and gathering? By sickles. Okay, manually by sickle or by using machine. That machine is called harvester. The grain is separated from the cut crop. This process is called threshing. Okay, grain is separated from the crop. This process is called threshing. These two processes can be done together by a machine called combine. Combine machine can do harvesting as well as threshing. This is a modern machine. Okay, and after this winnowing process takes place. In winnowing, grain is separated from the husk. It also can be done manually or by winnowing machine. Now it's time to store the crop. Okay, store the grain. Now grain, one thing is I would like to tell you buffer stock. What is buffer stock? Extra stock is called buffer stock. We store it in silos and granaries. Okay, the grains can now be packed in bags or bins and stored. Large scale storage of grains is done in silos and granaries. So this is over, storing has done, and when we store we have to be very careful again from microbes, insects and rodents. So these must be made free, the storage places, they must be made free from microbes, insects and rodents by spraying chemicals before storing the grains. The grains should be periodically inspected to ensure that they are not attacked by rodents. Okay, uh, rodents, insects or microbes. Now children, how we can increase, now our next topic is how we can increase the crop production. There is one way, that is hybridization. What is hybridization? What is hybridization? Hybridization is a technique used for developing new varieties of crops by crossbreeding to different varieties. A new variety which we get, it is better than those previous ones. Now children, we are going to discuss nitrogen cycle. Okay, what is nitrogen cycle? The cyclic process of nitrogen. Nitrogen cycle. The cyclic process of nitrogen being fixed used by plants and animals and later returned to the atmosphere is referred to as nitrogen cycle. There are many steps in this cycle. We are going to discuss each step one by one. So nitrogen cycle involves many steps. First step is nitrogen fixation. Nitrogen fixation can be done by two ways. First by lightning, and second, and we also call that atmospheric fixation, lightning, and the other one is biological nitrogen fixation. Okay, biological nitrogen fixation is done by bacteria, that is rhizobium bacteria. Now next step is nitrogen assimilation. Nitrogen assimilation. This process of conversion of inorganic nitrogen compound into organic compound that become a part of living organism is called nitrogen assimilation. Third is ammonification. Ammonification is a process. In this process, the conversion of complex organic compound like protein into ammonia is called ammonification. Fourth is nitrification. What is nitrification? The process of conversion of ammonia into nitrates is called nitrification. And last is denitrification. Denitrification. In this process, some of these nitrates are absorbed by plants and the rest are converted to free nitrogen gas by denitrifying bacteria, and this process then called denitrification. Now children, I am going to tell you about animal husbandry. What do you mean by animal husbandry? The breeding, feeding, animal husbandry. Children, the breeding, feeding and caring of domestic animal for food and other purposes is called animal husbandry. Like poultry farming for meat of poultry farming for egg and poultry animals like chicken, duck and turkey. Okay, we do the poultry farming for egg and meat. And milch cattle, what are milch cattle? From which we get milk, okay, like cow, goat, buffalo, camel, etc. Then apiculture. Apiculture is what? To get honey, rearing of honeybees for honey. That is what? Apiculture. So children, that's all for this lesson. Now children, we are going to revise microorganisms. First, what are microorganisms? Organisms that are so small that can only be seen through microscope are called microorganisms or microbes. Okay. Now the study of microorganism is known as microbiology. Scientists who study microorganisms are known as microbiologists. Now children, we are going to discuss types of microorganisms. There are main 5 types of microorganism. First is bacteria, algae, protozoa, fungi and virus. We are going to discuss one by one about these microorganisms. First, bacteria. Bacteria are simple unicellular living things. They are found almost everywhere in air, water, soil and in bodies of most of other organisms, including human beings. Bacteria are of 3 types found in in 3 different shapes they are found in nature. First is rod shaped. We also call rod shaped bacteria bacilli. Second is spherical, we call that cocci, and third is spiral, we call them spirilla. Now come to the algae. Algae are simple plant-like organisms that have cell walls and chlorophyll within the cells. Algae can be unicellular, okay, or multicellular. They make their own food by the process of photosynthesis. They are found generally in water, in pond, lakes and sea water. Some algae, they are found in snow. Okay. Now come to the protozoa. Example of algae are unicellular Chlamydomonas and multicellular Spirogyra. Come to the protozoa. Protozoa are unicellular organisms, okay, that have animal-like characteristics. They are found or they live in the bodies of other. Sometimes they are like parasites. They are found in the bodies of other organisms, including human beings. Otherwise, they are found in fresh or salt water, and they also live in soil. Example of protozoa like amoeba, paramecium, trypanosoma, giardia, etc. Now, fourth is fungi. Fungi are plant-like organisms, but they do not have chlorophyll. They may be unicellular or multicellular. Unicellular fungi is yeast and multicellular is mold. Okay, they are saprophytic in nature. Saprophytic means they feed on waste and dead plants and animals. Okay, and they are present everywhere from desert to very cold region. Now come to the last, that is viruses. Viruses are the smallest microorganism. They do not have cellular structure like other microorganisms. Okay, they cannot reproduce by themselves or respond to changes or use energy to grow. So children, when a virus enters the living cell of an organism, say a human, it is able to reproduce. It uses the energy of the host cell for this purpose. Okay, and children, I am going to tell you one more thing. Since reproduction is very important characteristic of life, scientists regards viruses as link between living and non-living. They have been placed on the dividing line between the living and non-living. So that's all for this. Now come to the behavior of microorganism. We are going to discuss useful microorganisms. Okay, there are 4 main uses we are going to discuss. First is in food and beverages industry. Bacteria help us in making certain foods like lactobacillus bacteria. it helps in making curd from milk. Okay, and also cheese. So lactobacillus bacteria help in making curd and cheese. Lactobacillus helps in making curd and cheese. Now second, as we are talking in food industry, in second example, making breads. Second is bread. Like yeast. Yeast is fungus microorganism. It helps in making bread by the process of fermentation. Okay. Now next is making idli, dosa and dhokla. Making idli, dosa and dhokla. Here the bacteria which are present, the fermentation is also taking place in the batter of idli and dosa. This fermentation occur naturally, not like we add yeast and all. Here fermentation takes place because of bacteria present in the mixture. So bacteria ferment the batter of idli and dosa. Now next is manufacture of alcohol and alcoholic drink. Again, this fermentation of sugar takes place in alcohols. In alcohols, fermentation of sugar takes place by yeast. Okay, and it produces what? Alcohol and alcoholic drinks. Now next is we are coming to the second is in making medicines. Very important, making medicines. Bacteria and fungi are used to make medicines. Bacteria and fungi, they are used to make medicines. And that medicine is called antibiotics. Okay. This antibiotics, when we consume, it kills bacteria in infection in our bacterial infection in our body. So bacteria and fungi are used to make medicines called antibiotic. These medicines kill or stop the growth of disease causing microorganisms. And fungi, I am going to tell the name, like penicillin is a mold and it is used like to make penicillium. Second, bacteria, like from bacteria the medicine is made, streptomycin, tetracycline and erythromycin, and these medicines, they help in killing microorganisms. Okay, next is we are going to discuss vaccine. Very important. Vaccine. What are vaccines? Vaccine consists of dead or weakened microbes. When these are swallowed or injected into the body of a patient, the body produces antibodies. Antibodies to fight them. Okay, antibodies to fight them. The antibodies remain in the body and protect it from any future attack of the disease. The body is then said to have developed immunity. Vaccination is therefore called immunization. Okay, and some bacteria, they also produce insulin in human body. Okay, the human hormone called insulin can also be obtained from bacteria, not produced in the human body, but this insulin can be obtained from bacteria. Okay, sometime what happen, like insulin stops, formation of insulin stop in the body, then we obtain this insulin from bacteria and is used to help diabetic patient whose body is not producing insulin. Okay, now third we are going to discuss third in agriculture industry. All you know, in agriculture, rhizobium bacteria, they are present in the root nodules of leguminous plants and they help in fixing the nitrogen. Now in cleaning the environment, some microorganisms, they help in cleaning the environment, like they decompose the tissue of dead organisms like plants and animals. Okay. And also they are present in the soil in the form of nutrients and taken up by the plants. And bacteria also help in decomposition of sewage and other waste in water. Okay. Now we are coming to the harmful microorganisms. Harmful microorganisms which causes diseases. Now children, harmful microorganisms, we also call them pathogens or microorganisms. We call them pathogens or germs. Okay. So disease causing microorganisms are called pathogens or germs. How do they spread? Okay. To cause disease, the germs have to first enter our body. They can enter in the following ways. First, through air. Okay. The disease that is spread through air are the diseases that is spread through air are common cold, flu, chicken pox, mumps, tuberculosis, measles, and polio. Now next, through food and water, cholera, typhoid, and hepatitis. Food and water, which diseases are spread? Cholera, typhoid, hepatitis through direct contact with the sick person. Then the name of the diseases are common cold, flu, chicken pox, ringworm. Through insects, like some insects, they behave like carrier. They carry the disease causing germs from one organism to other, like female anopheles mosquito, it carries malaria causing microorganism from one person to other. Children, do you know what is malaria causing microorganism? That is protozoa. Okay. And Aedes mosquito, it carries the virus of dengue. Now next is through cuts and wounds. Tetanus tetanus is the example. It is spread through cuts and wounds. Now some microorganisms, they also cause diseases in animals and plants. First is anthrax. Anthrax is a disease that affects human and cattle both. Anthrax. Okay. And it is caused by bacteria. Okay. A virus causes the dangerous foot and mouth disease in cattle. Now citrus canker, this is a bacterial disease that affects trees of citrus fruits and is spread by air. And yellow vein mosaic, which affects vegetable like bhindi, is a viral disease. Okay. We also call it YVM, yellow vein mosaic, YVM. It affects like bhindi, it is a viral disease. Now rust of wheat, I already told you, it's a fungal disease. Now children, we are going to discuss microorganisms, they spoil the food also. Like the food is in our home, it is spoil the food also, cooked food. Microorganisms, they spoil food and causes food poisoning. How? Microorganisms growing on food sometimes produce toxic substances. Toxic means poisonous. These make the food poisonous. Consuming such food can cause serious illness called food poisoning. Now children, our last topic is what? Food preservation. You have seen microorganisms, they are spoiling the food. So how we can preserve the food for long time? There are various methods. First is heating. Why do we need how we can preserve the food? We can do this by killing the microbes in the food and stopping them from growing again. The first method is heating. Heating food to a high temperature kills microbes. We have seen in home, mother boils the milk and also water. And one treatment is what? Ultra heat treatment. We also call it UHT, is the partial sterilization of milk by heating it for a short time, around 1 to 2 seconds, at a temperature exceeding 135 degrees Celsius. UHT milk is available in Tetra packs as a shelf. Its shelf life is 6 months or more until opened. Okay. Now, pasteurization of milk. What is pasteurization? Pasteurization is a process. It consists of heating milk to a high temperature, about 70 degree Celsius, for half a minute, and then cooling it quickly. This kills most of the bacteria without affecting the flavor. And this method was invented by Louis Pasteur. Next is cooling. After heating, next is cooling. Food stops microbes from growing and reproduction, and hence preservation preserves food. So in refrigerator we keep food at around 5 degrees Celsius. So it helps in it keeps the food or protect the food from spoilage. Next is chemical preservation. Some chemical we use as preservative. Okay, chemical preservatives. Some chemical we use as chemical preservatives, like sodium benzoate and sodium metabisulfate. These two chemicals, they help control microbial growth. They are used to preserve jams, squashes and ketchups. Now children, salt. Next is salt. We are going to discuss about salt. Salt also help to check the growth of bacteria by forcing microorganism to lose water by the process called osmosis. Same manner. Okay. And we can preserve fish, pickles, chips by salting. Same method apply with the sugar also. Sugar also help in preserving jam, jellies and squashes. It also makes microbes lose water by osmosis. Next is oil and vinegar. Sometimes we add oil and vinegar. That provides an environment in which microorganisms cannot grow. They are used to preserve vegetables, fruits, fish, meat and pickles. Now next is drying and dehydration of food. Consists of removing water from it. This stops microorganisms from growing, as they cannot grow without water. Last but not the least, that is canning. Canning consists of sterilizing the food and then sealing it in airtight containers. This prevents it from getting spoiled for over years. That's all, children.